Here we go!
Hey, I'm Jack Hughes from Wang Chung.
Hey everybody, this is Ivan from Men Without Hats.
Hello everybody, this is Francis Dunnery from It Bites.
Hi everyone, this is Andy from Modern Romance.
Hi everyone, this is Charlene.
Hi, this is Dennis Seaton from Music EU.
Hi, I'm Nick Hayward.
Hi, this is Kevin from Fiction Factory.
And you're listening to the 80s Rewind Show podcast.
If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe so that you never miss an episode.
It's time to bring you yet another amazing episode. And now, welcome your host,
Rob, the face for Radio Burgess.
Enjoy the show.
Hello, my 80s Rewinders. How are you out there in 80s Rewind podcast land? Hope you're doing extremely well. I've got a fantastic episode for you today. Before I get into that, please like and subscribe, write a review on Apple Podcasts if you can, and tell all your friends all about it. You know what? Let's do some reviews. Olivia May says, a real great listen, can't wait for new episodes. Thank you, Olivia. McShafto, I like that one, says, I love the 80s and I love this show. And Charlotte Waz says, great podcast. So like Charlotte and McShafto and Olivia May, if you want to get in touch, you can get me at the 80s Rewind Show at gmail.com. As ever, the link will be in the show notes. And don't forget, if you just want to tell me what your favourite 80s song is and why you like it, you can get me at the same address. It'll be in the show notes there. So thank you for those lovely reviews. And like those guys, all you do is you pop into Apple Podcasts and leave me a little review. That would be absolutely amazing. And I would thank you eternally for it. It'd be absolutely brilliant. Anyway, on to today's show.
The 80s Rewind Show podcast.
So a couple of weeks ago, I reviewed the debut album from Dream Kid, and I reached out to Dream Kid and said, can I talk to you about your music and your 80s influences? And he said yes. So I managed to meet up with Dream Kid online, and bless him, he wasn't very well in the week and he had flu, and he's still connected, and we did the interview. What an absolute trooper he is. And he's a lovely, lovely guy. We had a great chat, and he's really friendly, and his music is absolutely amazing. Yet again, I'm going to put a link to his album in the show notes, and his Instagram account will be in the show notes as well. So if you want to find out more about him after this, you can go straight to the show notes and find him and give him a click on there. He's agreed to let us play a track at the end of the show as well. So we're going to play Hearts Don't Beat the Same When They're Hurting. And that's the 8th track off his debut album. On a side note, when we play that song, I want to dedicate it to one of my oldest school friends, Ben. Unfortunately, Ben passed away recently. We met in the mid-80s. We were friends off the 80s. And then we lost touch. And when the internet came around, we reconnected again in the later years. And he was one of my oldest friends, if you like. He wasn't my oldest friend as in we hung out every single day. We didn't see each other for many years. But he was one of the people that I met when I was a kid. And I always had great admiration for him. And he was fantastically flamboyant. Gonna miss you, Benny. That song's for you. I think it's perfect for you. Anyway, on with the interview. Let's go way back. When you was a kid, was there a lot of music in the house growing up? Was your parents into music? Were they musicians?
No. My mom was a dancer, and my dad was more of a sportsman. He wasn't big into music. He liked Supertramp, and I used to love Supertramp. That was his main. That was like his Beatles. But they used to host a lot of parties growing up, and I remember them playing stuff like Fine Young Cannibals and stuff like that. But it wasn't a musical family. I believe my grandfather was a drummer, and my other grandfather was a comedian and a singer. So there's that link. But yeah, they were always into music, but I wouldn't say they weren't musicians or anything. So I was probably the only, I have two sisters as well who love music as well. And also they didn't play any instruments or anything like that.
So when did you sort of become aware of music? Was it a young age, or was you interested, was you a sports sort of kind of kid? Was you into music as a kid?
I was into music straight out the bat from about 4 years old. I remember like asking my mom, I was like, I really love music. She was like, okay, well, let's go find you some music. And she's like, what music do you like? I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, do you like MC Hammer? She's like, I think she played me like You Can't Touch Us. And I was like, yeah, I like that. So I got into kind of rap at first. and then I got into Vanilla Ice. I was big into Vanilla Ice, which is, I even got a tattoo of Vanilla Ice, actually.
Crazy.
I think I'm the only person with a Vanilla Ice tattoo. Even the guy that tattooed me was like, just before we started, he was like, "Are you sure you want Vanilla Ice tattoos?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm sure." And then after that, I kind of got into like Bryan Adams. I started going into more like rock, and then I was into like Aerosmith, Brian Adams. And then I discovered, I think in about 94, I discovered Green Day Dookie, that album. And then I was just like, whoa, I went straight into the whole punk thing, like Offspring, and then Blink-182 came along. Maybe like I kind of got into them about 97. And then I was like sold. I was like, music, I'm starting a band. Like that was it. So and at the time I was actually big into surfing. I was actually competing a bit as well because my dad's a big surfer. So I was kind of into that. But as soon as I like kind of discovered Blink, I was just like, that's it.
You were sold.
Like I'll still surf, but I'm not going to be competitive. Like it's not really an option. Music is what I'm doing.
And what was the first sort of instrument you gravitated to? Was it keyboards or guitars? What was the first thing you went to?
It was actually drums.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think naturally I have like the drumming. I've got like a drumming brain. I'm just like tapping and I wanted to drum, and then I think I showed my dad like the price of a drum set, and he was just like, no chance. Because at the time it was like, I was like 5,000 rand, and I think back then it was like quite a lot. So I think, and then my mom, we were in a shop once, and mom just said, okay, we'll get you a guitar, 200 rand, we'll get you there, you get started. And then I just kind of got into the guitar, and then from there kind of started singing. I think now when I think back, I don't think I would have wanted to be a drummer because I like to kind of be in the front and like shouting in the microphone and stuff. So.
You're a closet front man with a log wedger.
Yeah, you could say that. But I still want to buy a drum set one day, and so I can just bash around, you know.
At least you get an electronic one now, so it'd be quieter for you.
Yeah. Put on the headphones.
That's it, yeah. Your neighbours will love you. So when did you sort of first start gigging with bands? When did you join your first band?
I started my first band in 1999, and I think our first show was maybe only in 2000. We did like a battle of the bands, and we did okay, but yeah, I mean, a lot of the guys who were in the band with me were just like friends who I just showed how to play like a bass, like just play this, go there. And I was like, okay. And I think, but then we carried on. A couple of members changed, and then we got quite serious around 2001. And we did quite well in South Africa. We were like on the top like charts, local charts and stuff like that. We gigged around for about 3 years. So, and then after that, we made the move to London.
And what sort of band was it? Was it a rock band? Was it a pop band?
It was very much pop punk. It was called What Now. It was like a Blink-182 clone, you could say. And then when we moved to London, we changed our sound. We're still going. We're called New Volume. We're more like alternative. Not very much 80s, but there is a bit of a touch of 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so you did the band for a little while, and then was it working as a band, or was you sort of just wanting to go off in a different direction?
When I started the Dream Kid,
yeah,
I was always into synthwave. I was always obsessed about it, but I didn't quite have the knowledge of like this home studio and that kind of stuff. It always seemed a bit like too overwhelming to me, like compression and things. I was just like, wow, like I don't know if I can actually deal with all this. And then it was lockdown. I was like, no, what? I'm just gonna give this a shot. And I literally, like that first album, I wrote and studied YouTube tutorials, and I kind of wrote the songs as I was learning about production at the same time. But I always knew I was going to do something synthwave, maybe since 2015, 2016, I first discovered the new Retrowave channel, and I was like, whoa, what's happening here? There's this whole scene, like, because I always wanted to do that early on, but I just didn't know there was a whole scene, around it. So I was pretty blown away, like when I actually saw there was this whole like movement. Because I think like a lot of bands, used to hear a lot of bands, even like bands in the 90s and early 2000s, they would like have a part in a song where they would kind of touch into a bit of synthwave, but then it normally be like in a bridge. You'd hear like a bit of something that would like change, and then you'd be like, wow, like that sounds really cool. That like nostalgic feel. And then that would like change and go to the chorus, and then it'll go back to rock or something. And I was always like, why are they stopping? Why do they keep that sound going?
That's the bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, why did the keyboard just go away now? Carry on.
So are you doing Dream Kid and the band simultaneously at the moment, or have you separated and gone?
Yeah, I'm doing both simultaneously. The band took a break, obviously with lockdown and stuff, but I'll still, we still do it on the side.
So what I love is I was going through obviously Instagram for people that have not found your music yet. I was on Instagram and you do fantastic little videos that look like an old video cassette playing, and then you sort of highlight it saying like a wedding day 1984 and the best man loves the bride.
Yeah.
I love all that stuff because it just sets the scene for the music. Where did those ideas come from? Did it just come to you, or did you see it somewhere, or was it?
I saw a couple artists online doing similar kind of thing, and I mean, at first I was always doing these videos. I didn't really know what else to post, because I know like Stu from Outland, he was like, you should post on TikTok. You should get involved in TikTok. And I was like, I don't really know what to what do you post on TikTok? I don't know what really to do. Like, so I would just try different things, and at first I would talk about different plugins, and then I started I just started filming myself just jamming little noodles, little doodles, and then a couple of the videos started doing quite well. I remember I got like 1,000 followers in like a day, and I was like, okay, something here, maybe you should keep going. And then I just added one of those like point of view captions. I just said, I'm just going to just try this. I've seen a couple other guys do it, so I'm just going to try it as well. And then it just went nuts. And then I just was like, okay, well, I'm just going to just carry on. I enjoy doing it. I mean, I would do them anyway if there were 5 people that liked them.
It's definitely got a look. Like as soon as I saw your videos, and then I saw another one, I knew it was you straight away. It's a great way of getting people to notice it. I mean, for anyone that's not heard your music and is on Instagram after this interview, you will know straight away that this is Dream Kid, because it's just got a fantastic aesthetic look. And then the soundtrack, once you hit the volume button, it comes on straight away. It's brilliant. It's a lovely thing, because I love all those old filters anyway. But when you back it up with the music, it's fantastic. That's great.
Yeah, I didn't want it looking too glossy. I didn't want it to be like high def, like perfect lighting. I want it to be a bit VHS-y and a little bit. I think it's almost refreshing to a lot of people, because everything on TikTok's so like high definition.
Yeah.
And then you get something that's a little bit like old school looking. I think that can help. I think that helps.
It's wonderful. And what were your sort of influences from the 80s music wise? Who would you go to listen to for inspiration?
See, in my head, there's a difference between synthwave artists and like 80s bands. It's a different. But in terms of 80s bands, I mean, I would listen to a lot of stuff which is not really synthy. It's more like INXS, and I've listened to like Motley Crue and Bon Jovi and Bryan Adams and that kind of stuff. And then obviously with synthwave, it was like Time Cop. I think the first song I heard was the Time Cop and Dana Jean Phoenix song, I think it's called Dreams or something. I think it's called that. I can't remember, but that was the first song I heard.
Yeah.
I think with the 80s, a lot of the 80s bands I listen to aren't really synthwavy, I would say. And the way I kind of, in my head, because I grew up a lot on pop punk, I found that the chord progressions and the kind of riffs, arpeggios in pop punk are actually very similar to synthwave arpeggios and melodies. So it's almost like I put my pop punk writing kind of influence into synthwave, and it kind of works quite well,
Are you more influenced by film soundtracks than actual music? Is it more about the film soundtrack?
Not entirely. I love film soundtracks. So like, I think I watched the movie Flight of the Navigator the other day, and I was like, I forgot about it. I was like, dude, the soundtrack is so amazing. It's so synthwave, but I didn't realize. I think obviously I'd heard it a lot when I was younger, and I think it's like a subconscious thing that just kind of, you forget about it, but then you listen to it again, you're like, oh, that's where I'm getting that kind of idea from.
Let's talk about your writing process itself. You've got fantastic titles on the album like Restart and Broken Heart Airlines and stuff. Is it title first, music second, or is it the other way around for yourself?
No, it's generally the music first, and then I'll do the title at the end. But a lot of those newer songs I'm writing, funny enough, I've got the title first. So literally, I'll start with the song, it'll just be like something vibe or whatever, and then I would make it. And then as soon as, if it's a song that I sing on, then I'll know okay, I'm going to call it this. It makes more sense.
Yeah.
But they can work either way. I think at the moment it's like that. It can be either way. But the first album was definitely, I did the titles at the end.
And let's talk about writing the first album. So you saying you wrote most of it during lockdown. How did it go? Did you just sort of roll out of bed and it'd be like, right, I'm going to work from 9 to 5? Was it an organic album?
Yeah, I was barely like, because I was working I was doing like Uber Eats on a bicycle. Like that was my hustle. Like, like a fixie bike. Like I did it for a couple of years. I still do it every now and then. I actually enjoy it in a weird way. So I'd like do that on the side, but generally I just literally, I work at night. I'm a night person. I've always been like a night owl. So I'll work until maybe 9 o'clock at night and then work until 5 in the morning every night. And at first I actually wasn't going to sing. I was just going to make like instrumentals because I wasn't sure how my vocal was going to fit like over Synthwave. I was a bit like, I'll try it out. And if it doesn't work, I'm just going to do like instrumentals. And then, I don't know, I started doing it and I was like, actually, it's kind of different. It's like a bit of pop punk vocal on a Synthwave track. And I was like, I think it's refreshing. So I'm just going to go with that. And then, but yeah, everything was like, I was kind of like experimenting and just kind of learning about everything as I was going. So the writing the new album that I'm doing, it's obviously different because now I have a bit more knowledge of what I'm doing. So I feel like I could focus more on the songwriting. Before I was kind of like, I don't know, doing it simultaneously.
You were doing writing tech as well as producing as well as...
Yeah. Like I would do something and I'd be like, how do I do that with a vocal? Like, what is that thing where someone says something and it's called a throw, but like I would be like, I wouldn't know it's called a throw. I'd just be like, it's like an echoey. Then I would go on YouTube and be like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. And then I'd go back to the song and be like, okay, now I know what I'm doing.
There's no simple manuals out there for like, how do I make the last line of a vocal throw 3 bars? Is there? There's nothing like simple to find.
No, I mean, it did help that songs in the past, but they're all like guitar rock based kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't know keys on keyboard. Everything I do is completely ear. I don't know anything. I don't even know the keys on my song. Like people go, "What's the key of the song?" I have no idea.
That's kind of good though, isn't it? Because too much can be a bad thing.
I think I should stop being lazy and actually just learn more about theory. I think it would probably help me in the long run. But it is nice being an ear musician because you don't really have boundaries. You're just like, well, it sounds good. I'm just going to go with that.
Are you planning to tour the album at any point?
Definitely, but I think I'm going to get this second album going, and then I'm going to definitely tour this year for sure. I'm busy kind of discussing it. Yeah.
Oh, so there's plans for a tour.
Yeah, a lot of people online are asking as well. Like, when are you coming? A lot of people in the States. I find a lot of my fan base at the moment is like 80% American, which is cool. I mean, so. We'll see what happens. I
mean, you've got a huge synth-based background in the States, haven't you, because of MTV back in the day. So I suppose a lot of people are hearing your sounds again and going, oh, that's me when I was 16. Yeah.
I suppose with the Americans, like the American movies, the whole influence, like Pepsi, pizza, all that kind of... I wasn't sure at first. I thought maybe that the Instagram algorithm was just like pushing me out to American stuff. Or maybe it is, it might be.
I suppose if they're liking it in the States and their friends are liking it, would be more, So how do you get the sounds together for the actual album and the songs? Where do you find those? Are they sort of just built in, or do you create the sounds yourself?
I buy a bunch of preset packs and then I just kind of fiddle around with them. There's a company that I think it's called Oblivion. Oblivion? Yes, they make they do the Hex Drum plugin, which I love. And then when I bought that plugin, I saw they have a bunch of like Diva packs. So I bought those. I think there's like 2 or 3. I think they're called Neon Circuits.
Right.
Neon Circuits. Yeah. And I really love them. I was like, wow, these are great presets to start some inspiration. So, and then I'll just fiddle around with those. But I'm in the process of actually making my own preset pack. So, but it's obviously the first one I've done. So I need to take my time. I don't want to rush it.
So at the time of this recording, you just released the single All I Need Is You. Was that written for the new album or for the last album?
That's actually a Lost Concord song. So that's I just sang, they just said, we have this instrumental track. We want you to sing on it. So I just kind of, I just did my thing on top of it and they loved it. And I believe it's probably going to go on to their next album.
Right.
But that's not my song. That's like not a track of mine.
Oh, okay.
I just collabed with them. Yeah.
I mean, it's such a match. It sounds like it could have been one of yours. It's crazy.
Yeah. So they've got a very similar music style to me as well. Yeah, like even when they sent me the song, I was like, I would have it's definitely something I could have made, like musically, like
Yeah.
like they yeah, it's very similar to mine. But I think they came from the same pop punk rock thing.
What was it about synth pop you think people like? Why do you think people are now going back to it and resonating with it?
I think it's just that nostalgic feeling you can't beat. Like there's something different about it. Even now, when I listen to all kinds of music, you know, there's no other feeling that synthwave music gives me. Like that other genres, I just don't get that. I get a different kind of feeling. It's still a good feeling, but I'll listen to a rock song and it's still a good feeling, but it's not the same kind of. It's some like happy, nostalgic feeling that I think people forgot that that even lives inside of them. Like people that never heard synthwave, they hear and they're like, "Oh my goodness, forgot about this feeling." I think that's a big part of it.
Someone asked me once, why do I like the 80s? And I said, because it created its own universe. And if you, I don't know if you've seen a documentary called 808 about the drum machine. But
I have it.
Yeah, and in that they were saying that they couldn't make the realistic sound, so they made their own one. And I think that's the synthwave universe where it's sort of grounded and it's completely ungrounded all at the same time. And it's like you know what I mean? Like it's its own universe.
There's just nothing. There's nothing like the 80s. There's nothing like synthwave. It's like its own.
Yeah.
You know, its own. Yeah, as you say, its own little world, and it's like people's happy place as well. I found I suffer quite badly from mental health and depression and anxiety, and I find synthwaves help me so much.
Wow, that's really positive, then, isn't it? It's a positive.
And I
thing.
think I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. So.
Wow. I mean, why do you think that is for yourself? Is it because it's quite relaxing? Is it something like that? Is it?
I think so. And also like I have good childhood memories and it brings that up and it kind of, I just can go into that same feeling I've had that maybe kind of wasn't there for a while, brings it back again.
That's crazy. So it's almost like a time traveling thing for you. It brings back,
for me it is. Yeah, but then it brings like a good feeling, and I can think about the future, and then it also it kind of locks that into, and it just puts me in a better state of mind altogether.
That's fantastic. I didn't think of that for people with that sort of thing. That's brilliant.
That's the way I've seen it. But I can tell a lot of people have said the same thing, like some comments on stuff on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah,
a lot of people have said the same thing, and I think that, like I said, a lot of people have forgotten that feeling. Maybe they just forgot about it. Life moved on.
Would you ever write a track for sort of people with anxiety using those sounds, like specifically for that purpose? For people that
sure, I'd do something differently. Yeah,
for when people get anxious, they can put it on.
Yeah, like a relaxing, almost like sleeping white noise music, but synthwave style. Yeah,
because there's a track by I think it's called Marconi Union called Weightless. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. And it was designed, so loads of scientists got together and they designed this track. It's on YouTube and it's 8 minutes long and it's designed to calm people down. But the kick drum, as it goes on, slows down and you automatically follow the song.
And then eventually,
chilled.
Just go into a little snooze.
Yeah. And I thought, this is nonsense. So I put it on before I went to bed and I conked out within the first 3 minutes. So it definitely works.
I definitely need that because I'm the worst sleeper ever. Like I'd never sleep. But I've always been like that, even as a baby.
I'm the same.
I actually have to have white noise just to try and get to sleep every night. I have to put it on like the sound of the ocean or something. So mine is just like got like ADD in my head.
So tonight, try Marconi Union Weightless. See how you get on YouTube.
Okay.
Try that one.
I'm definitely going to try that.
If you
Man, awesome.
If you'd written a track from the 80s, which one do you wish you'd written? If there's a synthwave track or just an 80s one that stands out, what's the one you think that one?
Van Halen Dreams. That's what I forgot to mention was Van Halen. Sorry, that's what I forgot. Yeah, Van Halen Dreams. I just love the synth in that song.
Yeah.
It's very synthwave, but not synthwave, but it's, yeah.
So if you could collaborate with an 80s artist now, say you could sort of get someone on board to sing a track with you, is there an 80s band with a vocalist that you'd really love to work with?
I would say Sammy Hagar from Van Halen. I really like his vocal. I was more of a Sammy Hagar person than the other dude. I forgot his name.
David Lee Roth. Yeah.
Yes. Where most people it's the other way around. But I'll definitely say Sammy Hagar. I love his vocal.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
So you do more of a sort of rock synth track on that one?
Yeah.
That kind of thing,
Definitely.
yeah.
I think you'd have to, yeah.
If you was going to cover an 80s song, which one would it be?
Forever Young by Alphaville.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have done that, but that is a good one.
Yeah, I can hear you doing that.
It has been. Yeah. I could probably sing that as well. Like, yeah, I love it's got some good synth in that song too. There's a good scene there's a great scene in Napoleon Dynamite where that song comes on at the end, and I'm always like that fits the song so good.
I mean, your sound would definitely fit that track. That would be absolutely amazing. And you've brought the album out on. You can stream it as well, but you've also released it on cassette, which I found really interesting as well. Because cassettes are slowly on the way up. Was that a decision to do it on cassette because that's the thing now, or did you just not fancy doing it on vinyl?
We are in the process of doing vinyls. We're currently just sorting out the artwork. We were just kind of waiting to see the demand. We didn't want to go and just press a whole bunch of stuff and not know like where it's going to go, but seems to be going okay. So we're definitely going to be doing vinyls. In terms of cassettes, with Outland, the label I'm signed to, I think they were just like immediately we're going to make cassettes. So I was like, oh, cool, we're all with that. So I would have done them anyway.
Yeah.
I would have done it. I was just kind of, yeah. Because at first I was actually just going to release a song. Like I was like, I'm just going to make a single, see what happens. And then like Outland were like, no, put an album. And I was so like, because obviously I was learning at the time. I was like, I haven't even mixed a song. how am I going to do this? But at the same time, it was actually really good. It actually pushed me. Otherwise, I probably would have just delayed the whole operation for another 4 years, trying to perfect the compression and the EQ.
That's true. Yeah, you can tweak for a million years and they'll still not get it right.
No, that's quite a difficult part, being a musician / producer mixer all in one.
Mm. And what's next for you? Is it going to be the album and then a tour? Is that your next steps, or do you want to go?
Yeah,
into film
I'm aiming for get this new album done and then tour, so I can do this album and then the previous album in one big double tour of both. So I have more material to play.
Fantastic. And if people want to find out about you, where's the best place to find out?
All my handles are DreamKid83, even my website, DreamKid83, YouTube, DreamKid83, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of them the same.
Fantastic. Yeah. It's a fantastic album and I love it. And I sent it to my mates.
Thank you.
On Spotify. No, honestly, and my mates will love it as well. My friend came back to me and said he wants you to cover Shattered Dreams by Johnny H. Jazz. He wants to hear you do that version of it. So.
Jeez, I need to. I don't even know if I know that song. I probably know it if I heard it.
You 100% will. So it's a fantastic album. Buy the cassette.
Thank you.
Find it on streaming. Follow Dream Kid. See the tour. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you.
It has been 3 weeks since I last did hear from you. Was it nothing at all? You moved forward, here I am, still sitting here. I can't get my head around how you played me like that, then twisting my arm so effortlessly. This drinking sunset, I'm the only things holding me.
presented by Robbie.
If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave us a review.